The city of Los Angeles, home of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Great Western Forum, where the Lakers have won 14 of the last 15 regular season meetings with the Golden State Warriors. But tonight is game one of the Western Conference semifinals. Let's take a look and see how these two teams got here. The Lakers swept by Houston in 3. The Warriors took 4 to defeat the Spurs. And during the regular season, LA won the series between these two ball clubs, 3-2. Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Thulin. Glad you can be with us tonight. Now, the LA Lakers have had 4 days off. Golden State just won. But the big story for Golden State, Chris Mullin, a strained knee. He will not be playing in this first game. Joining me this evening, Hall of Famer Rick Barry. Rick, what does that do for Don Nelson of the Golden State Warriors?
Well, obviously, it's going to cause some major adjustments on their part. But first, let's take a look at the injury that Chris received and how it took place on Friday night. Watch as he goes into the basket. You're going to see when he makes his plan to go up, that right there, the right leg, is where the injury occurred. Just how difficult this is going to be for the Warriors? Well, I asked Don Nelson what it would mean.
Well, first of all, let me say how happy I was that he was able to finish our last game against San Antonio, won the ball game for us, a very gutsy performance. No way he could play tonight. I'm going to, in his place, I'm going to start Rod Higgins, and you'll probably see me fluctuate my lineup throughout the game quite a lot because of his absence.
Well, you also can be assured that Don Nelson will have some other tricks up his sleeve. We'll talk about them as the game progresses.
Of course, Golden State did present a lot of matchup problems against San Antonio. You're missing Chris Mullin, but that still has to concern Mike Dunleavy, the matchups.
Yeah, he's always, of course, concerned about Don Nelson. We asked him if he knew what Nelly was going to do. He says, hey, Nelly doesn't know what Nelly's going to do, having been an assistant coach for him one time at Milwaukee. But I did ask Mike what he thinks the biggest problem is the Warriors will present for him.
Well, the fact that they create some tough mismatches for you because of their size, being small and quick and all pretty good ball handlers. They can really get to the basket on you, and they have a draw and kick game, penetration and finding shooters on the perimeter. And the fact that they shot the ball so well in the last series against San Antonio.
Well, what all this amounts to is that it will be a battle this evening, but history is on the side of the LA Lakers. The Golden State Warriors have not won a playoff game here in the Forum since 1969. Coming up next on TNT, it's the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. Crowd at the Great Western Forum for Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. Now let's take a look at tonight's Jeep Eagles starting lineups. First of all, for the Golden State Warriors, Mario Elie will be at one forward with Rod Higgins starting in place of Mullins, Peterson, Hardaway, and Richmond, and of course the coach of the Warriors, Don Nelson. That's a pretty impressive record. And for the Los Angeles Lakers, the same starting five: Perkins, Worthy, Divac, Johnson, and Byron Scott. And they're coached by first-year head coach Mike Dunleavy.
Ron, I'll tell you, one of the things here is you see the referees, Mike Mathis, Lee Jones, and Steve Jaffe for tonight's ball game. Mike is going to try to force Nelly to have to play to him. He feels that there are mismatches there created on both sides and that he has the advantage with his people, and Nelly's going to have to try and contend with that. I would look for the Lakers to try and get the ball down inside, take advantage of Magic down inside, Worthy posting up, Perkins posting up, and just see what happens. And obviously, they're not going to leave the shooters. They realize that was a big mistake San Antonio made. On penetration moves, they will not be leaving the shooters. Or if they do, they'll be rotating for somebody to pick them up and not give them those easy opportunities.
Well, we saw a couple of great professionals already this afternoon. Larry Bird leading Boston to the victory. Isaiah Thomas leading Detroit. Now it's Magic Johnson's turn if you're a Laker fan. Peterson and Divac tip it up. Peterson just scoots it along, and Tim Hardaway, the University of Texas El Paso, will run the show. On top to Higgins. The matchup right now, Richmond being guarded by Perkins. Hardaway will be guarded by Byron Scott. You would think that Hardaway could take him. Hardaway's jumping a little short.
No Warriors under the basket.
Now they're going to put Mario Elie on Magic Johnson. Does that surprise you?
No, it really doesn't. Mario's a pretty strong guy. Got good mobility. He'll battle him. They'll be switching different people out there. Rest assured of that.
With the trim beard and all, Vlade Divac can't get the left-handed hook to go down. He told me after the Houston series, if they win the championship, he'll shave the beard and shave his head. That remains to be seen. Lakers on the run.
Well, Higgins used his quickness to get by. Divac that time wasn't able to complete the play.
Worthy on Richmond. Worthy has really been struggling in the playoffs. Only shooting 40% from the floor as opposed to 49 during the regular season. Another turnover. Still looking for our first point of the ball game. We played about 1 minute and 15 seconds.
They probably will not go to double Magic. Now he made the move. They got to pick him up there.
That's exactly what we saw in the Houston series of Vernon Maxwell playing behind Magic. And Magic just waits for that double team, and if the double team doesn't come, they'll shoot it. Hardaway inside, almost uncontested. The foul won't go down, still being kicked around. Sam Perkins comes down with it with 10:20 showing on the clock in the first quarter. At the Great Western Forum with the Lakers and Golden State opening up their best-of-7 series. Magic forces up the shot, won't go down. Peterson with the rebound. Richmond. Golden State still cold from the floor. Finally, they get their first basket of the ball game.
Well, they're going to try and get those quick transition opportunities, just like you saw there.
Perkins forces inside. Peterson is fouled. Or is whistled for the foul.
Well, even with Chris Mullin out of the ball game, they're not going to change their basic game plan. Elie, even if Chris were healthy, was going to still go with the small lineup. You get a chance to see Chris there in his street clothes. And he just decided that, hey, we're playing really well doing this. It'd be silly for us to go ahead and change. However, if it doesn't work, I would imagine you'll see Alton Lister come into the ball game or get some other people with some size. But first of all, he's going to try the smaller lineup, see how it works.
We look at Don Nelson. You speak of Alton Lister. He's only played in one playoff game, which shows exactly what Don Nelson did against San Antonio. He didn't play his big 7-footer. Instead, sat him down, despite the fact Lister did play most of the season at the top spot.
Yeah, well, Ellie's one of those coaches who's not afraid to go ahead and make a major change if he feels it's going to have an opportunity to benefit his team.
James Worthy says Golden State is a team to fear since they swept Utah in the first round back in 1989. He says, hey, we're concerned about these guys. On paper, it looks like we should beat them, but we've got to take them seriously. You never know what's going to happen.
The Warriors got to be more careful with the ball. They've got too many turnovers early in the ball game. Plus, they're not shooting it well, and they have to be proficient in both areas to win.
Vlade Divac, the quick turnaround with his first 2 points in the ball game. Divac's averaging 16 a contest during the playoffs. 11 for the season. Lakers up by 4. Coming close to the 9-minute mark in the first quarter. Perkins cuts it off. Divac's almost coming up with a double team. Hardaway shot goes down in the foul.
But I tell you, what a tough matchup for Sam Perkins. I mean, he's fairly mobile, got long arms to bother the shot of Hardaway, but Hardaway did what he should do wisely. He got him moving around, and he penetrated, and he drove. That's where he's got it the quickest. Back up, boom, real quick. He got Perkins coming out a little bit. His quickness was able to get him by, and that's just a smart play on the part of Tim Hardaway, who's becoming one of the premier point guards in the NBA.
He's looking at the top 3 right now as far as point guards. I mean, you look at Magic Johnson, John Stockton, of course, KJ, but right now Tim Hardaway's not too far behind from that elite group.
Well, I mean, based on the playoff performance, he's playing better than KJ.
Exactly that.
Because KJ, had the hamstring problem.
Inside of 9 minutes, Lakers lead it by 1. Just got to Divac. What a pass inside! It goes.
I like to see that because that's a player who's aware of the situation that's developing around them. He doesn't have tunnel vision looking at the basket only. You can see people cutting. Divac's heads-up play was able to go ahead and make a good back cut. Here comes out. He's out. He's open. He had the shot, but Divac's back cut. He saw that Peterson was out of the way. Divac was open. Great play on the part of Byron Scott.
Vlade Divac now with 5, and the Lakers lead is 4 with 8:50 remaining in the first. Mario Elie, who has a passport that's full, oversees the CBA. He takes the shot that goes down, and that's a lesson in perseverance for that 28-year-old.
Can you imagine being in the semifinals, Western Conference, in the playoffs, and goes one-on-one against Magic Johnson?
Perkins with the left-handed hook goes down. But right now, LA not afraid to attack underneath. Higgins for 3. Count it.
Higgins not afraid to shoot the 3-pointer, but you see the Warriors are not coming down and doubling now.
Inside, Magic Johnson.
Nelly didn't like that call.
That foul was on Elie. That is his first.
Here we'll see the play again. Magic coming down. Elie moving. Peterson. I thought Peterson was moving there, and they called that foul on. Was it on Elie or Peterson? Elie. Yeah. Well, I think the foul was really on Peterson as he moved underneath Magic. Elie didn't look like he even touched him.
Magic has 5. The Lakers have 14. They lead it by 4. Higgins looked at the 3. Richmond from just inside, nothing but net. And that's for Kansas State Wildcat jersey.
Yeah, he's a fine player. He was really a great post-up player also in college, but he had the ability to shoot outside, and he's just a fine talent. One of the great two guards in the league.
His nickname is Rock because he is rock solid, worthy from the baseline.
That's the difference between he and Jeff Grayer, who also was a fine player in college. Grayer didn't have the outside game.
Played at Iowa State, played against each other as a matter of fact. Well, Lister, who checked into the lineup during the timeout, gets his first points of the game. And his first points of the playoff. We have a foul.
Interesting to see how long Elie decides to allow the Lakers to post up and not send people and just let them go on their one-on-one escapades to the basket there. See, nobody's coming. Just going to let Magic go.
Magic with the right-handed hook, and he has worked on that baby hook the last couple of weeks. He says it wasn't going down near the end of the regular season. He worked at it in Houston, and right now, Magic Johnson with 7. Inside, and Richmond tries to battle his way in. Magic with the rebound, outlet to Scott. 3-on-2 for the Lakers. Scott's pull-up. Don Nelson is up, and rightly so. 18-14 is our score. The Lakers on top. We have 7:02 left in the first.
Well, the Lakers leading by 4. You saw Don Nelson upset talking to the officials at the timeout. This is the play that caused him to be upset. The drive in by Richmond. He felt he got bumped and hit right there by Vlade Divac. No foul was called. Here's another angle on it. Let's see indeed if there is the contact. He's moving in. Divac's moving. His body contact, yes, indeed, that was a foul. He also hit him with the forearm. He's saying, hey, you call the one down here for Magic Johnson. How come you won't call the one down there for our guy? Pretty good reason to be complaining.
Well, Don Nelson continues to go to his bench as he sends in number 4, Vincent Askew, the second-year pro out of Memphis State, stands 6'6", 226.
Yeah, we didn't even see Askew.
And Marion report. No. Played in 3 of the 4 playoff games this year. Only has played 7 regular season games as we've got a foul. That's not a makeup call, is it?
I don't know, with all the contact that was on during playoff time, Mike Dunleavy saying he can't believe that one.
Well, Golden State has hit 6 of their last 7 shots, but they still trail in the ball game by 4, and another turnover by Golden State. That is 3 for them.
Nobody doubling.
Worthy usually catches on fire in the playoffs, still trying to find his range. Hardaway has Richmond on the right. He'll pull up for the 3, and he drains it. That is confidence.
It's just hard to play defense against that. I mean, what do you do? I mean, he's pretty close to the guy. Just shoots it right in your face.
Now it is Askew on Magic Johnson.
Illegal defense going to be called now.
That's the first of the ball game. 6:17 on the clock. Lakers by 1. Considering you have Elie, Askew, who only played 7 regular season games. You have a couple of guys that don't have the big NBA playoff experience, and you're going up against the Lakers. Difficult challenge. And that foul will be on Askew. That'll be his first.
You can again see Nelly's strategy here, obviously, is to go ahead and just let the guys go one-on-one, see if they can do a good job defensively against him, and not allow some of the other people to get open and have those easy opportunity jumpers. It's interesting, Elie before the ball game said, well, the Lakers now play boring basketball. but the thing is, they win.
I was going to say, I'll take boring and winning any day of the week. Magic now with 9. Lakers lead back up by 3. Nearing the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. Mike Dunleavy says he hopes his players continue to play this un-Laker-like playoff basketball. They want to dive for every ball they can possibly get. Lister trying to find the handle underneath, and he'll be tied up by Magic Johnson. Excellent play by Magic. What a night against Houston the other night.
The thing about it is, Mullen's not playing. Warriors have turned it over a number of times. Yeah, they're only 3 points behind.
That's right. Tip, Perkins will get it for the Lakers, and here comes Magic. Leading by 3 inside of 5:45. Perkins spots up, the left-handed shot short.
Push-off, Worthy got away with big-time push-off there.
I don't think Askew ever saw him behind him.
He felt them.
He did. He got whiplash. Swatted away by Lister. Magic for three, doesn't get it. Worthy with the rebound. Fourth time it may be a charm. Let's see.
This is where the size difference is paying off for the Lakers.
Byron Scott doesn't get it. Perkins tries to tip it, but that will be a loose ball foul on Sam Perkins.
Can't give them that many opportunities and expect them not to make a basket. They really dodged the bullet on that one. Of course, when a couple of years ago, after Golden State had beaten Utah and surprised them at 3-zip, they went down in Phoenix with their size advantage, took advantage of them on the offensive board. So right now, Warriors looking at the same type of situation.
Well, one of the Achilles heel for Golden State is that they don't rebound or defend close to the basket very well. Have to kick it back out. Shot on the way. Nothing but net.
That's Warrior ball, though, Ron. You know, you go ahead and you penetrate. If you don't have the shot, you kick it out. That's like Europeans play.
Inside of Vlade. He gets the roll. Vlade Divac. Now with 7. Lakers by 3. Hardaway penetrates. Askew has to kick it back out. Richmond with the jumper.
Good ball movement. That's Warrior basketball. That's the way they've been successful in the playoffs. Moving the ball, finding the open men. They get the ball to the good shooters.
Worthy is 0 for 5, make it 0 for 6. Rebound control by Lister. Outlet to Richmond, and Hardaway will run it from the point. Boy, he's got that crossover dribble. Pulls it up, doesn't get it. Magic Johnson says that's the quickest crossover dribble he has ever seen. Worthy almost tipped it. 1 point Laker lead.
Had Richmond on the right wing. Smart play. Just couldn't get it to drop.
Over the top of the basket. And we have a couple of more substitutions. AC Green will come in for the Lakers, and Sarunas Marciulionis from Lithuania, wearing number 13, checks in for Golden State. But first we have a timeout on the court. 4:02 remaining in the first quarter. The Lakers on top of the Warriors by 1.
The other Lakers. Then it goes to Askew. He penetrates. Richmond roams right down to the middle at the free throw line. He gets the ball and makes the shot.
Golden State huddle. Both teams still in their huddle with 4:02 remaining in the first. 22-21 is our score. We mentioned the last time that Golden State was able to win a playoff game here was back in March of '69. They are 0-11 during the playoffs. How about a successful second season? This is Golden State during the playoffs.
Yeah, they've really come alive, and it's been the bench that has done that for them. The other three guys run TMC, Mullen, Richmond, and Hardaway, are actually scoring a few points less per game as you get a look at the injured Chris Mullen. Pinched and strain, they call a strain of the right knee.
Interesting about the bench, we see the bench production during the playoffs. During the regular season, they outscored their opponent's bench only once during the regular season, and now during the playoffs, they're getting that production. Inside of 4 minutes, Lakers still lead by 1, despite the fact they've missed their last 8 field goal attempts. Rather quiet crowd, a late arriving crowd here in the Forum. Beautiful day in Los Angeles today. Magic backing in again as he did in Houston over Askew. This time he doesn't get it. Rebound, Mitch Richmond.
Pretty good strategy on Don Nelson's part here. I mean, the Lakers aren't exactly blowing him away with this going one-on-one stuff.
Marciulionis, who thinks pass first, shoots second, out to Higgins for 3, doesn't get it.
But again, the penetration and the kick out, the Lakers have to be careful of leaving some of the shooters open. That's not Mike's game plan. They don't want to leave the shooters open.
One thing we saw in Houston with the Lakers, intensity, and right now that intensity really isn't where it was in Game 3 against the Rockets.
Same thing. See, Richmond playing D-bots. He's done that during the regular season, but they didn't double, he just kept position. And so it's working well for the Warriors.
You're talking 6-5 against 7-1. Shot on the way, will go. Magic with the rebound. 6 rebounds for Magic Johnson. So once again, Magic is taking over the show. He says the first couple of playoff games he was setting the table for everyone as he fakes left, goes right. Vlade with the return, and he's got it.
But again, they got them to miss the initial shot. The defensive strategy by Nelly's working pretty well right now. They just have to do a little better job controlling the defensive boards. And it's very interesting way to approach this.
Well, when they take out Alton Lister, which they did, now they've got that small lineup in, but Mike Dunleavy refuses to go with a small lineup. He said the only way he's going to beat Don Nelson is let Don counter his moves, not for the Lakers to counter Golden State's moves. Lakers lead it by 3, nearing the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. Ron Thulin and Rick Barry, Ernie Johnson in our studios in Atlanta. Worthy inside, and he finally gets on the board. James Worthy his first 2 of the ball game, averaging 29 a contest during the playoffs.
Oh, good move. Oh, and he missed the
easy shot. Askew the follow, but he does draw the foul.
Anytime you get that defender coming out at you, right? I mean, he's really dead meat because you can't stop your forward momentum in time to prevent the guy from being able to get at least a half a step on you. And that time, Askew took advantage of the big man to get to the basket.
Golden State has missed 6 in a row. The Lakers, of course, had that streak. Now it's Golden State's turn to turn cold, but now Vince Askew tries to break the slump.
Get our first look at Tyrone Hill, who did a nice job coming in to play against David Robinson in the playoff series against the Spurs.
Well, we talked about how Mike Dunleavy wasn't going to counter the moves, and he may be doing it right now because coming in the next break in the action for the lineup will be Elden Campbell, who is yet to play or has only played in 1 playoff game so far. Worthy's turnaround, and now Worthy going down low, Rick, an easy turnaround.
Well, they're going to continue to try to take advantage of the size differential that they have, and obviously you can't expect James Worthy to play as poorly as he's played thus far in the playoffs.
They sweep Houston 3-0, and quite frankly, Magic didn't play the first 2 games all that well, and Worthy didn't play all 3 of them.
Yeah, that's because the Lakers play some real good defense.
That is what has held them so far this year and got them to their record of 58-24. Magic's going to lead the break. It is a 4-on-3 to Green to the hole. Count it.
Those are the kind of baskets the Warriors can't be giving up.
Hardaway, top of the key, and returns the favor.
And conversely, the Lakers can't give up those kind of easy shots.
And Byron Scott for 3. Biggest Laker lead, it is 10 inside of 45 seconds at the Forum. First game of the Western Conference semifinals. Hardaway shot is goaltended by Vlade Divac. 10 now for Hardaway.
There's the crossover, hesitation, and then the quick move as soon as he got the guy's body weight leaning forward, and there's the goaltending by Vlade.
Scott to Divac. 15-second difference in the shot and the game clock. Lakers had a chance for a 2-for-1, Rick. Now they won't. Really backing in again. Takes it strong to the hole with the right hand. And Tyrone Hill, the rookie, had no chance on that one. 6 for Worthy, a 10-point Laker advantage.
Nelly's still sticking with the non-double teaming strategy here.
Who's going to blink first? Closing seconds in the first. Hardaway for 3, doesn't get it. Rebound, Vlade Divac, and that'll end the first quarter of play from the Forum in Los Angeles. The Lakers opened up a 10-point advantage. 35-25 is our score. Stay with us. We'll be back with quarter number 2. Lakers go through the quarter without a turnover, and they've opened up that 10-point advantage, Rick.
Yeah, and they've been able to go inside. Of course, the strategy we talked about, just 1 against 1. Here, time Hill against Worthy. Worthy's starting to get the hot hand. He makes a little turnaround fadeaway. Now, on this move, watch the right arm of Worthy after he makes this move to go in for the score against Hill. Don Nelson complaining that it should have been an offensive foul that he was hooking there. It really didn't seem like much contact. But again, the Lakers are trying to take advantage of the size differential inside, and they're also fortunate that the Warriors have not shot well. They've made, I think, 1 of their last 9 shots, and we talked at the start of the telecast that they have to shoot the ball well to have a chance to be in this ballgame. Let's figure if they had gone just 4 for 9, which is not great shooting. That's 6 more points. That gives them a chance to be trailing this game only by 4 points. So their shooting has really let them down in the last part of this quarter, first quarter.
Well, we saw the stat of the Warriors missing on some of their field goal attempts. The Lakers have hit the last 6 after missing 11 in a row. What a first quarter for Magic Johnson. 9.7 rebounds and 5 assists. So he'll begin the second quarter sitting on the bench. Little alley-oop to Elden Campbell, the rookie. And he can't hold on to it. 6'11", 215 pounds. Campbell, a first-round pick in '90, the 27th pick overall, and Mike Dunleavy likes this young man, especially Jerry West. Jerry West very high on Campbell. Tolbert has checked into the lineup. Tom Tolbert, number 34 for Golden State. Another turnover? No, Hardaway gets it back. Tolbert's pull-up, double pumps, and he'll be fouled on the play.
That's a bailout, boy, and I know that they're upset, the Laker players, for fouling him on that shot, because you want Tom Tolbert shooting those kind of shots.
And Tolbert will go to the line. Tolbert, a second-round pick back in '88 for Charlotte. Terry Teagle will come into the Laker lineup as Tolbert can't get the first to go down. He's 0 for 4 from the charity stripe. And boy, that's a pet peeve of yours, I know, Rick. As Scott goes out, Teagle comes in during the playoffs. Now he is 0 for 5.
Of course, you remember he was the one that lost his composure there and got that one-game suspension for throwing some punches.
Well, he's got an 0 for going in the playoffs as far as the charity stripe goes. 0 for 6. The Laker lead is still 10. Drew into the lineup for the Lakers. He'll be running the point, so this is sort of a luxury almost for Mike Dunleavy, getting a lot of extra playing time, especially when Worthy is hot. 8 points for James Worthy. Elie, the running right-handed jumper, a little CBA shot.
That's a tough shot, I guarantee you.
Man.
He's going to his left, drifting, shooting with his right hand right in the defender's face.
Playground shot. Lakers by 10. Teagle trying to slip underneath, and he does. Richmond, however, picks him up.
One advantage of this small lineup is you can just switch every time.
Oh, yeah. Exactly right. Hardaway brings it down for Golden State. Finds an opening. Oh, he just left Larry Drew in his socks.
Well, socks and something else.
Yeah, right. Well, I tried to clean it up. All the athletes know what that meant. The Lakers, 37-29 lead. Worthy, that little spin move again, tries to get his own rebound. And the ball belongs, I think, back to Golden State.
Yeah, Hardaway just a little hesitation. Didn't go through the legs with that famous move. He just gave a little body move and hesitation move and went to the left. Got his man leading. He's a smart player.
Inside, Elie's shot counted, says Mike Mathis. So Elie now with 6. His playoff average is 8, and he'll go to the line. Teagle was for the foul. That's his first. We saw Elie was kept by the Lakers at training camp. He has 7. The lead is down to 5, and we are at the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. Ron Coolin and Rick Barry glad to be with us tonight. More playoff action here on TNT.
Look at I'll tell you, that was this time it was Drew doing a little move that looked like Hardaway on that play.
Drew tries to come up with a steal, but he knocks it into Golden State's bench, and the Warriors will have it with 21 on the shot clock. Good hustle as Sam Perkins will try to get in the lineup before they resume action, and he does. Nope, they're going to make him sit.
Very subdued crowd.
Oh, yes.
They really are.
Too much sun today. Tolbert on top to Richmond. Shaking around out front. Marciulionis left open. He blows by James Worthy, but then his shot is blocked by Campbell and by Teagle. Good defense by the Lakers, closing the gap as Marciulionis looked like he had a clear path to the hole.
Didn't take it strong enough to the basket. A little too relaxed.
Worthy now on Tolbert. Hardaway looking for the double team. Worthy instead inside the green, and we've got a foul. And here comes Sam Perkins into the lineup. And Elden Campbell will take a break.
No way Tolbert can stay with Worthy. Worthy's just much too quick. Beats him on that quick spin move of his.
Tolbert whistled for the foul. Lakers have it, fresh 24. They lead it by 5. But important for the Lakers, Magic Johnson getting some rest. Perkins, we've got another foul.
Hardaway reached in to try and help that time as Perkins made the move across the middle. Didn't really make an all-out, go down and double and attack. He just kind of tentatively reached in and picked up a silly foul.
Well, that's team foul number 2. First on Hardaway. 9 minutes left in the second. Green looking for Worthy.
Offense.
Marciulionis down, and that will be an offensive foul on AC Green, and that will be his second personal foul.
Outstanding job by Marciulionis as he moves his feet quickly to get good position. Push off, very obvious.
Golden State just does not want to go away. Lakers go up by 10. You think they're on the roll?
Again, they're getting the shots. They didn't hit him at the end of the first quarter. That's the difference in the ball game, really.
They're shooting 50% during the playoffs. That shot won't go down. Perkins with the rebound. AC Green has to jump over Richmond. Drew got up in the air almost in no man's land. Teagle posting up for the three. But Worthy's going to wait for the double team. Teagle's fall away.
Well, it's the first time we've seen him actually go out and double.
Elie now with 9 points. His season and playoff high is 15. As we mentioned, he's only averaging 8 a contest during the playoffs. 7 during the regular season. Shot won't go down. Green tries to follow, and Marciulionis will lead the break for Golden State. To Hardaway.
Magic's going to have to get back in this game. Mike Spitely calling the timeout. The Warriors just hanging right in there.
14 points for Tim Hardaway, and the Warriors once down by 10, now trail by just 3. 7:48 left to be played in the second. Lakers by 3. Back just a few years. 1969, Game 7 of the World Championship. And it was Don Nelson who hit the game winner. He describes it.
This is the biggest shot I've ever made in my career, and it was the luckiest shot I think anybody's ever made. Havlicek gets the ball deflected right there. I happened to be coming across the key, shot it so bad it went in. 7th game of the World Championship, biggest shot of my career, won the game for us.
And Ron, I'll tell you one thing. Having had the opportunity to be in that situation, a 7th game of an NBA championship, I guarantee you has served Don Nelson very well as a coach. It's one thing to be a coach and be there. It's another thing to be a player. You get a whole different perspective.
Excellent point. We'd like to also say it was 4 years ago today that you were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Second leading all-time scorer in Golden State history, trailing some guy named Chamberlain.
If I tell you, well, some of the things that he did, the records that he had, never will be broken.
No question about that. Golden State and Don Nelson on an 11-2 run, and that is what has cut that lead down to just 3 with 7:48 remaining in the second. It was a 10-point advantage after 12 minutes of play. Magic Johnson has, as you said, Rick, needed to check back in the lineup, and that is exactly what Mike Dunleavy has done.
Now, very interesting, though. Mike Dunleavy has made a change here. Drew is still in the game, and Magic is in. He's got Teagle. He has a small lineup, basically. He has no center in the ball game right now. So an adjustment has been made by Mike Dunleavy right early in this playoff series.
And that's surprising. He thought he would stick with the big lineup no matter what. Perkins on Tolbert. Tolbert using that body to keep Perkins out, and that's going to have to be a foul. No basket. And that'll be on Tolbert. That'll be his second personal foul.
Now, you see, I can see, in Ellie's strategy, why he wants to not go and double. Figuring that everybody else is getting to stand around here. The team doesn't have a whole lot of motion going on. And if those guys aren't hot shooting the basketball, they got a shot, perhaps, by getting better position defensively on the boards.
Perkins, the southpaw with the left-handed banker. Perkins now with 6. The Lakers lead at 5.
Nelly can live with that shot. If Perkins can make those kind of shots to beat him, you just have to live with that.
Marciulionis takes Teagle inside, and that'll be an offensive foul on Sarunas Marciulionis.
Now he had him on his hip, had him beaten, but he threw the left shoulder into him. Didn't need to do that. He could have used his strength as he jumped to go to the basket to muscle the guy out of the way, except he did it down on the floor, and that was an obvious play.
Magic Johnson, who had a good first quarter, 9.7 rebounds, 5 assists, running the show once again. Boy, Perkins and Tolbert not afraid to bump bellies down low. There's Perkins again. Fakes to his left, goes to his right, and he hits the left-handed shot again.
You see, Perkins has killed the Warriors before. Even he was with Dallas. He's had some of his biggest games as a pro against the Warrior teams.
His career high was against playing with the Dallas Mavericks against Golden State. The post-up game is death for Golden State, no question about it. Another turnover for the Warriors, turnover number 6. The Magic wants to push it up the court. Lakers lead it by 7. Spin move by Magic off the glass
with the left.
You see Larry Bird today do what he did, which was just short of miraculous. Isaiah with the wrist, and now Magic. Richmond has his shot blocked by AC Green, stolen by Hardaway. And another turnover by Golden State. The Lakers have a 3-on-2 to Magic, to Drew. Don Nelson needs to talk about it. 5:54 left in the half. The Lakers have opened up another big lead.
Now with a 9-point lead, 5:54 to go in the second quarter. They're doing it with some defense. Here you see Hardaway after he made his steals. The long arms of Sam Perkins knock it away, and then back down the other end. We'll get to see the finish of the play. Teagle with the good quick outlet pass. Gets it over to Drew. Drew with the nice bounce pass to Magic. Magic right back to Drew, and the easy 2 for the Lakers. And during that time, Magic, I think he tightened up. Might have got no cramp in that right hamstring. Gary Beatty, the trainer, working on him.
Gary Vitti and the rest of the National Basketball Association trainers, the NBA Trainers Association, putting on quite a benefit here June 2nd at Hollywood Park Racetrack in Inglewood for the Miami Project Pure Paralysis. And they're going to have quite an auction. I'll tell you, if people want to help that project, Nick Bonicani, one of the great NFL players, and his son involved in it. Not only a great trainer, but an excellent person as he works on Magic Johnson. He worked on him so well that he'll come back into the lineup. In fact, during the timeout, Gary Vitti ran over and talked to the team trainer, or the team doctor, who is keeping his eye on Magic.
Yeah, you hope that maybe it was just something tightening up as opposed to him feeling that he pulled something. It's obvious what, if you hurt a hamstring, what can happen to you. As example by Kevin Johnson with Phoenix Suns, he was nowhere near his peak performance level.
Lakers lead it by 11.
Great save by Hardaway.
Hardaway for 3, doesn't get it. Rebound, Terry Teagle. The Lakers have a chance to go up by 13, and that brings Alton Lister off the Warrior bench. So now the chess moves continue for both teams. Let's see if Vlade Divac comes in for the Lakers. Teagle over Higgins. The right-handed hook goes down. Terry Teagle loves that baseline.
When I said 47-36, I said a 9-point lead, didn't I? I've been hanging around Bob Neal too long.
I'm not touching that. We'll blame it on the playoffs. 18 games in, 3 days?
No, that's Bob Neal rubbing off on me.
Ernie Johnson's getting gray here. Starting to get that Pat Riley from Richmond. Byron Scott up off the Lakers bench. Inside, doesn't get it. Mitch Richmond not having one of his better nights. Good hustle, AC Green. That's what Mike Dunleavy wants. Little bruised knees. Inside, Higgins trips over Magic Johnson. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Rick Barry and I will be selecting the Budweiser player of the game. That'll be following tonight's telecast. That foul was on Magic.
And Warriors are having a bit of a roller coaster ride with their shooting. I mean, they start out shooting the ball well, and then they have a cold spell at the end of the first quarter to fall behind, and then they fight back again, and then they start going cold again. And they need to be much more consistent if they're going to have a chance against this Laker team, especially with Chris Mullin out.
In case you just joined us, Chris Mullin out with a sprained knee. He got in the 4th game against the San Antonio Spurs. They say he will play game 2 here in Los Angeles, however. It's one of those things I think they'd want to have him 100% instead of 80% tonight with a chance of getting hurt.
Yeah, they're lucky that they're going to get a few days to give him some extra rest.
Perkins looks at the 3. Lister comes out to meet him, and they go back down to Magic. Vincent Askew on him. Has it slapped away. Askew thought he had all ball, but he's whistled for the foul. That is his second. Magic Johnson goes to the line. So far tonight, Johnson with 9, with 11, and now he has 12. And here's tonight's Chevrolet scoreboard. Games from this afternoon. Boston wrapping up that series with Indiana. Hats off though to Bob Hill and company. Did an excellent job. Had a chance to win it, in fact. And Atlanta crushed by Detroit. The wrong Atlanta team showed up. Bet you'll be wholesale changes in that club before next week.
Yeah, and actually, in a way, maybe the best thing that could have happened that they lost the game big like that, because had they beaten Detroit, people would have thought maybe they didn't have to make so many changes.
4 on the shot clock. Higgins hits the 3. That is his second of the ball game. And he has 10 already in double figures, just 4 away from his playoff high of 14. 4 minutes remaining to be played in the half. Lakers by 10. Lakers averaging 99 points during the playoffs. Their opponents just 93. Conversely, Golden State averaging 112. Their opponents 107. So the high-scoring game you would think would favor Golden State. side, Askew uses the left hand effectively.
The Warriors executing a lot better right now. They, again, had a little down period, and they're chipping away at it. But the old deep hole syndrome that I talk about so often is starting to happen with the Warriors. Fall behind, fight back, fall behind. You can't do that very often on the road and win.
Especially in the playoffs, as Magic Johnson goes down with the left hand. Johnson now with 15. Golden State is not a good road ball club. Well under 500. Shot won't go. Everybody fighting for the rebound. AC Green has it. He has Scott on the right, Teagle on the left. Scott pulls up.
20-second timeout. Nelly's going to call right now. Well, I tell you, Mitch Richmond has gotten to the basket on numerous occasions. He's not getting to the free throw line, and he's not able to drop the shots, and it really has hurt the Warriors. And Don Nelson is still very upset about it because he keeps talking about how Magic gets to the line all the time, and they're not putting any of the Warriors on the line down the other side. There he's Richmond trying to get the rebound after the miss. He got banged around. Perkins hustled after it, kept it alive, and here comes AC Green. He'll kick it out to the wing to Byron Scott, and Byron does what he does so well, hit the jumper. He saw the big guy Lister underneath. You don't want to challenge him when you get a chance for an open jumper from that distance.
Well, the Lakers have made 8 of the last 9 field goals. Mitch Richmond, 3 of 10. He's missed his last 5. And we'd like to remind you, coming up at halftime, the Prudential Halftime Report with the hardest working man in television, Ernie Johnson, in our studios in Atlanta. He'll have scores and highlights from today's Pacers, Celtics, and Hawks Pistons game, plus a live interview with Philadelphia head coach Jim Lynam. That'll be on the Prudential Halftime Report coming up following a commercial, plus 3 minutes of this ball game.
Doesn't Ernie have a bedroom there? He should.
I think his wife Cheryl thinks so. I think it's definitely. Ernie lives there. Course, next week he'll be joined by Cotton Fitzsimmons in our studio, the Phoenix Suns head coach. That'll be interesting. Lakers by 12. James Worthy checks into the lineup. Lakers still in their huddle, and Lee Jones has to whistle them back out.
Well, a little change from Mike Dunleavy worked. The Warriors down by 10 or so, cut that lead back down to 3. He came back with a smaller lineup. He even had Drew in the game with Magic Johnson, and it's worked very well for him.
Still not a center really in the lineup unless you call Sam Perkins a center for Los Angeles, because Teagle stays in the lineup. Fall away by Richmond. Tip won't go down. Lister will be fouled on the play. Oh, Mitch Richmond scored 6 in the first quarter. Hasn't hit the net since then.
Yeah, I think they'll afford to have Mitch Richmond. He's limping going back to the bench a little bit. I don't know what happened to him, but
Tom Abdenauer, the trainer for Golden State, will look at him. Tom's brother Mike, trainer at Detroit.
Dr. Bob Alpo right behind, looking over the team position. Bob has been there for many years. He was there back in the days even when I was there, and that's a long time ago.
Now Don Nelson says, wait a minute, wasn't he shooting? And he can't buy a call down the other end of the floor. That foul was on Johnson, and Magic is going to have to take a seat with 2 personal fouls. Don't want to get him 3 before they go into the half. And Drew checks back in for Los Angeles.
They're taking Richmond along with the doctor back to the locker room to check him out.
Lister gets 2, and we'll try to get an update.
Perkins looked like he may have hurt his right ankle on that play. He's coming up limping a bit.
He sprained an ankle earlier this year. Lakers by 10. 2:22 left in the half. Teagle with Askew on him. Cuts off the baseline. 4 on the shot clock. Terry has to turn, and the former Baylor Bear can't get it to go. Rebound by Lister. Hardaway's pull up. Got it. 16 first half points for Tim Hardaway. 32 is his playoff high. In the regular season, able to connect for 40. Shot swatted away.
Higgins with a good help defense move.
Hardaway blows by Byron Scott, who gets a little piece of it, but it still goes in.
He shot that with the right hand, and he had to put the reverse spin on it and get it up on the glass. That was a great move by Hardaway. And right now the Warriors in good shape heading towards halftime. They can stop the Warriors, score another basket. They're only down by 6, despite the fact that they've shot poorly.
Hardaway has a lot of Chicago streets in him, as does Isaiah Thomas. Never backs down. Worthy with 2 on the shot clock. Perkins will give the Lakers a second chance. Scott for 3.
Well, that's a killer. Had they screened Perkins off and been aware of where he was and gotten that rebound, that could have been a major, major play for the Warriors at this juncture.
Coming into the game, Byron Scott was 3 of 8 from three-point land. He's 2 of 2 tonight. And Lister retaliates with a 2. The lead is 7 inside of 1 minute. Looking inside to Perkins. Lister on his right hip, and they're going to call traveling on Sam Perkins.
Well, Sam decided to move Lister out of the way using his body and legs, and he moved both of his feet before he dribbled the ball.
Well, the Golden State Warriors, who continually beat the San Antonio Spurs up and down the court, are just doing it in spurts this evening. Really not running the ball, but they are getting their half-court offense. Higgins forces the three, doesn't get it.
Well, that was smart because that was a good 2 shots to 1. They wanted to get one in there. If that drops in, they stop them. They could have picked up 5 points. But the reason the Lakers are putting the ball in the basket, when you make 8 out of 9 shots, it's hard to get breaks.
Worthy, that spin move he has done so many times, and Don Nelson saying, hey, he's hooking our guy.
Well, if nothing else, the Warriors are going to be able to keep this under a 10-point deficit, and so you have to feel halfway decent about that going into halftime.
That is the time remaining in the first half. Drew comes up on Hardaway. May not be the best thing to do. They'll spin right by him. Hardaway shaking and baking. A little street move. Dishes off as the buzzer goes. Lister can't get it to drop. 24 minutes have been played in Los Angeles. And the Lakers go to the locker room leading by 9. Stay with us. Ernie Johnson in our studios in Atlanta with the Prudential halftime report after these messages.
They have played 24 minutes at the Great Western Forum, and the Lakers lead the Golden State Warriors 60-51 in Game 1 of their best-of-7 Western Conference semifinal series. Ernie Johnson in Atlanta with the Prudential halftime report. We are down to the final 8 in the NBA. The last 2 spots in the conference semis were nailed down today. First stop, Boston Garden, where the Celtics found themselves staring at Game 5 with the brash Indiana Pacers. It was yet another 48-minute duel between Larry Bird and Chuck Person. Each scored 32 in a thriller at Boston Garden. That's a draw with 32 each, but Boston wins the war.
Yeah, it is a little special because I've known Chuck for a while, and we've always had run-ins, but it always seems like I get the last word.
And with those 32 points, Larry Bird passes John Havlicek for the all-time playoff scoring lead for the Boston Celtics. He is 3rd now on the all-time list. And so Larry Bird and the Celtics move on to the Eastern semis, where they will meet the Detroit Pistons. They, too, were taken to the limit by the Hawks, but they showed their championship colors this afternoon at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Doc Rivers had 34 in Game 4, only 12 today. Dominique, 4 out of 18 from the field. Dennis Rodman, 20 rebounds, feeds it ahead to John Sally, 22-13 Detroit. And Dominique Wilkins answers that with a spin move in the paint. He only had 10 points on the day, though. Chuck Daly's guys, nice ball movement. Mark Aguirre to Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah draws the defense, and there is John Sally all by his lonesome to throw this thing down 39-28. Detroit really never in trouble this day. Nice touch pass inside. Dennis Rodman sticks with it and sticks it back 70-50. Hawks just couldn't do anything. 3-on-1. They blow the break, and they're eating that up on the Detroit bench. Well, they should. 113-81 the final score as Detroit moves on to the semis. They beat the Atlanta Hawks in Game 5 at the Palace. And when the Prudential halftime report continues, we will focus on the other Eastern Conference semifinal, Philly and Chicago. We'll hook up with Sixers head coach Jimmy Lynam after this. Western Forum, they are at the break. The Lakers and Warriors in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals as the Prudential halftime report continues. Tomorrow night here on TNT, we will bring you Game 2 of the Philadelphia-Chicago Eastern Conference semifinal series. In Game 1 Saturday, Michael Jordan scored 29. The Bulls built a big lead. They were never seriously threatened in a 105-92 win over Philadelphia. It was the Sixers' first playoff loss after a first-round sweep of Milwaukee. And joining us now via satellite from Chicago is Sixers head coach Jim Lynam. Jim, thanks for joining us. I know you go back to work today, about an hour and a half practice. Where do you start after yesterday's game?
Well, Arnie, we took a look at some of the tape. I think in a nutshell, we had to identify the fact Chicago came out very aggressive with their defense, and we didn't do a real good job responding to it.
Yeah, you take a look at the stat sheet. The first thing that jumped out at me, 37% shooting. How much of that is Chicago defense? How much of that is, hey, we're just not hitting?
Well, I think when you shoot a percentage that low, probably a little of both. I thought that with their aggressive style, we just were on our heels most of the game. It started really in the first quarter. They put us down 14 at the end of the quarter, and essentially it didn't improve the whole game. Another
thing that jumps out, 8 turnovers by Chicago. You guys forced 17 against the Bucks as you swept them in the first round. The defensive intensity on your part, was it there, or do you work to improve that also? Well, it certainly wasn't good enough. In fact, of those 8, they played with but 3 turnovers through the first 3 quarters. And to be honest, essentially the game was over at that point in time. So we have to be more aggressive with our defense, make some things happen, get out on the fast break. You know, Michael Jordan gets the lion's share of attention, as he should, for the Chicago Bulls. But really in the first quarter, it was Bill Cartwright who was so hot, and they get out to the big lead, and you're playing catch-up all day. Surprising that Cartwright got out of the gate like that? Well, yes and no, Ernie. I think Chicago frequently will try to establish Cartwright early in the game, and if he gets off to a good start, they'll come back to him one or several times in the early going. He did a very good job. I think he had 6 field goals at the end of the first quarter, and that was no small factor in their start. A lot of players will say what happened in the regular season has no bearing. This is playoff time, but in the regular season, you beat those guys 3 out of 4. Twice you beat them at Chicago Stadium. Is there a mental edge that you take into the series? Well, I have my own theory about that. I think the edge may have shifted as a result of that. I think Chicago came out very determined to deliver a message, if you will, and I think they did so in rather dramatic fashion. Now it's up to us to respond to that. How about Michael Jordan? I mean, I know you don't like to talk about him all day, but by golly, when you play that guy, do you have a theory that we're going to let him get his points, or do you try to pull out a page out of Chuck Daly's book with the Jordan rules? How do you approach that? Well, I think you try to walk that fine line. I don't subscribe to the premise that you let him get his points. I mean, they did that one night up in the Boston Garden. He had 60, 3 or 4. I think you have to be careful not to overdo it, because if you just stack your entire defense with the idea of trying to contain Michael, then you start letting other people get off. Jimmy, good luck to you and the Sixers the rest of the way and in Game 2 tomorrow night. Jimmy Lynam joining us from Chicago here on TNT, and Game 2 of that Philadelphia-Chicago series here on TNT. Tomorrow night, live from Chicago Stadium, and just ahead, the third period from the Forum. Take a look at what you could call the high fives, the players whose teams are still alive in the playoffs, who rank in the top 5 stat-wise. And we'll begin on the boards. Dennis Rodman, he had 20 today in that Game 5 win over the Hawks, leading with 14.5 a game. Karl Malone second, then Charles Barkley, Vlade Divac, who had that strong series with the Rockets, and Buck Williams is 5th. We move to the assist category. No surprise there. John Stockton was the regular season leader. He leads barely over Magic Johnson. Isaiah Thomas, bad wrist and all, right in there, along with Tim Hardaway and the amazing Larry Bird. And in scoring, the high fives, Karl Malone barely over Michael Jordan, who is the regular season king. Charles Barkley 3rd, Chris Mullin 4th, followed by Clyde Drexler. And as you know from watching the game here on TNT,